In the meantime, we're not in the clear yet because travelers can expect more flight cancellations and delays today due to the shutdown. This morning, more than 1,400 flights have been canceled across the country.
Atlanta News First Niamani Watson is live at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So Niamani, what's the latest there?
Well, you can see we are seeing a bit of red on the boards this morning here at Delta, but so far there have been around 114 total flight cancellations and at least 20 delays here at Hartsfield-Jackson. Now, since Friday, airlines have canceled about 8,000 flights under FAA orders to drop 4% of flights. Those flight cuts will increase to 6% today. Air traffic controllers have now missed their second full paycheck because of the government shutdown. Some controllers are resigning or calling out of work due to financial strain. Now, travelers are not only frustrated by the flight disruptions, but nervous to fly because of the shortage. One traveler, Stacy Ray, took a video while on her flight of a Delta pilot reassuring passengers they are safe.
I want to emphasize this aircraft does not move a single inch unless both my co-captain Michael and myself are absolutely certain it's safe to do so.
I heard people talking about how nervous they were, not only about the shutdown, but also about, not enough air traffic controllers.
Now, cuts are expected to reach 10% by this Friday. Travelers are encouraged to continue to check their flight status using their airline's website or app. Live from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, I'm Niamani Watson, Atlanta News First.